Consider the circle x squared plus y squared equals 10. What's the center and what is the radius? Before we dive into this specific example, I just want to remind you where the equation for a circle comes from. If we pick a point in the first quadrant, and this is an unknown point, so I'm just going to mark it x comma y. And if you can imagine connecting that to the center, or the origin in this case, and we'll call this r for the radius of my circle. So if I draw all of the points that are a distance r away from the origin, all of those points are going to lie on this circle. Now when you think about actually traveling from the origin to get to the point xy on the circle, we know we would go right a distance of x and then up a distance of y. And when you think about that travel, then we have created a right triangle. And we know that the three sides of a right triangle are related by the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So for this particular triangle, we have x squared plus y squared equals r squared, because r is the hypotenuse, the longest side of that triangle. And this right here is the equation for a circle. Now, for this particular circle, we know that the center of this circle is at the origin, 0, 0, and the radius of this circle is r. So now, looking at the equation for the circle that we've been given, we see that it's x squared plus y squared. That tells us it's going to be a circle. And you'll notice there isn't a number that's been added or subtracted to the x or to the y. So that's how we know that the center is at 0, 0. And so what I mean by that, about a number added or subtracted, just as an aside here, if we had, let's say, x minus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared, for example, now you'll notice we have a number that's been added or subtracted to both x and y, and that causes the circle to shift. So if this were the example, then the center of our circle, it would have been shifted to the right one, which puts the center at a positive 1 on the x-axis, and then up 5, which puts the center at positive 5. So the center would be at 1, 5. That would be a shifted circle. But our example has not been shifted. Now we know x squared plus y squared is always equal to r squared. In this case, r squared is equal to 10. So if r squared is equal to 10, then we'll square root both sides to determine the value of r, and we'll have that the radius is the square root of 10. So we can say now my radius is the square root of 10, and you could of course put that in your calculator to get an estimate, but usually we want to leave our answer in exact form. And we're not going to do a plus or minus here like we normally do when we square root both sides, because we always consider the radius of a circle, we consider it a distance, so therefore it's always a positive value.